Hi everyone, this is Sousanna Pogosyan and welcome to the Basement Tapes. I really am a curious cat, so this is where we're going to explore new ideas, talk about any issues, talk about life really, and where your faith takes you, whether you have faith or you don't have faith. I hope you come here with an open mind and you enjoy this episode. Hi everyone, this is Sousanna and I'm sitting here with Father Vazken, Movsesian. Do they usually give the last names when they announce priests?
They usually do. I think just people know me as Father Vazken until they meet other ones, and then they have to identify me by last name.
But if the Western Diocese had their own version of the Oscars, do they announce you with your first name and last name?
Yeah, probably. And then there'd be the difficulty of who represents you up on stage, who's accepting the award for,
Yeah. Again, this is Father Vazken Movsesian, and we're going to be having a conversation about, well, let me tell you, this is the first episode of the first season of our podcast, of my podcast. Anyways, I'm only doing this because I was forced. So I hope you learn something. I hope you laugh. I hope you truly enjoy the 20 minutes that we are producing for you. And I really hope that you come to this podcast with an open mind, an open perspective, and I hope it really inspires people to ask more questions, dig deeper in their faith, and to truly understand what the Armenian church and the Armenian faith and what life could really be if you attended Sunday service and received communion. But you don't have to. I mean, you should. I know I should. Anyways, Father Vazken, how are you today?
I'm okay. I'm trying to process all of this. I think you make a very good point that it's up to people to kind of take it, and you're going to be giving some talk, and it's up to people to take it and move with it.
Yeah, and I think the first question people are going to be thinking, what's Sousanna doing with Father Vazken on this podcast? It's so random. So let's talk about how we met.
Was it random that we met?
Nothing is random.
Okay. Let's start from there. Okay, so I can't remember. How did we meet?
I just can't believe that you don't remember.
Okay, I remember. It was a very magical moment.
You better remember the time, the date,
it was a magical
the location.
moment. Yeah. So tell me, what was that magic like? When was it?
No, I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
So the fact that you don't remember baffles me, but we'll forget about that part right now.
Be baffled.
We'll talk about it after the podcast is over.
Okay, tell me.
2017, my dog. I put my dog down after 12 years. I was 27. And all of a sudden, I felt the first wave of a really sad time in my life, a really sad period. It was very unexpected, highly unexpected. It's just a dog at the end of the day. I mean, he felt like a family member.
Sure.
And when I put my dog down and, whatever, there was this sense of that dog represented my childhood and my younger adolescent years. And that's gone. So what am I doing now? What am I doing with my life? I completed my undergrad. I'm at a job that I love. I'm surrounded by my friends and my family. I have everything going for me, but I'm just not happy. There's a void. And I've been attending church since I was 8 years old. Not because of my family, because my Black American friend from elementary asked me, what am I doing on Sunday? And I said, nothing. Her name was Dominique. She's like, you should come to church with me. I'm like, whatever. As long as I'm hanging out with you, it should be cool. So I went to this non-denominational church a few blocks up the street with my friend. Sunday morning, I remember the weather being really nice. I remember walking alone. And this is the 90s in Burbank. It's safe. You're fine.
It's coming back to me. Now I remember. Okay, go, yeah.
So we, that started my journey of faith. I ended up being in this Sunday school class with all my American Otar friends from elementary, which made me feel safe. There was no Armenians there. At the time, there wasn't a lot of Armenians in Burbank. There was actually probably 10, 15 kids in my whole class at Emerson Elementary. But if you went to, 10 minutes to the other side of Glendale, where we moved from, there was all Armenians. So I barely even spoke English. I didn't become fluent in English until like the 5th grade, but that's besides the point. Anyways, the journey started where I was 8 years old sitting in Sunday school, and they're talking about this man named Jesus and all these stories. I'm like, this is not real. What is this? And I'm not even asking my parents about it. I'm just going every Sunday and curiously like listening and understanding what this is on my own. So that kind of started my journey, and I kind of grew up in the Protestant non-denominational churches, and my faith grew. And then all of a sudden, your faith is not linear. It's like up and down and sideways, and it goes all around town. But it came to the point, 2017, where I really wanted to learn about the Armenian church. And the only reason, and I feel like I'm going on a long banter, so you got to come in here and ask me.
No, I'm learning. This is nice, yeah.
My dad found out that I was like attending a Protestant church, and he's like, "You're going to a Protestant church?" And I'm like, what does that mean? My mom's like, that means Protestant church. I was like, I don't know what these denominations mean. So I dig deeper, and I'm like, the only reason why I'm not attending an Armenian church is because when I walk in there, I don't understand anything. And a lot of the youth walk into the Armenian church and don't understand anything.
But you speak Armenian.
It's in classical Armenian.
Ah, okay.
Is it not?
Yeah.
You teach me.
No, I just wanted to hear.
This is your playground, not mine.
I just want to hear from you. Okay.
So yeah, and I asked my friend Jacqueline, hey, you're part of the Armenian church, but like you never talk about it. You're part of SEMA, but like people just know that you're involved, but you are never parading it around. And is there anyone that speaks English? Is there a priest that speaks English that can translate everything for me, because I'm genuinely interested? She's like, oh, Father Vazken, just here's his Facebook link, message him, ask him about if he has any She's like, I think he has a Bible study, but I'm not sure. You should ask. So I've added you on Facebook. Thank God you added.
And I accepted.
Thank God you added me back.
Wow,
You could have declined that.
Yeah. I could have, yeah. But like, it's not random. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
It's not random, but people might think, what do we have to do with each other?
Very random, yeah.
But I wish there was a camera on so you guys could just also see our dynamic. But anyways, I attended your Bible study that you've been running for how long now?
From just about 40 years, 39 years.
What?
Yeah.
Every Monday night for 40 years.
Well, yeah, every parish we've been in, we've been doing the Bible study. And
That's
so we
wild.
just continued when we moved down from San Jose down here, down to Pasadena, from Pasadena to Glendale, yeah. And now we're online.
Now,
yeah.
Whoever's listening, you're interested,
Monday night, yeah.
You could join. The reason why I say it's wild is because I've been part of it for, I don't know, since 2017.
Let's figure that out. That's 5 years. Okay, so you've been 1/8 of our existence. You've been there.
And I didn't know it existed for that long.
Well, we don't make publicity about it. Every day's for its own sake.
So I messaged their Vazken, and he's like, hey, you should come. I do have an English Bible study. This is the address. And I show up, and I go up to him. I'm like, hey, hi, I'm Sousanna. Nice to meet you. I messaged you on Facebook. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, thanks for responding. He's like, yeah, of course. You're welcome. Like, welcome. And I was just like, okay, I guess this is cool. I'll come back next Monday. But it wasn't like you walk in there, people are super sweet, they're nice, but it's not like the other churches, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You walk into a non-denominational church right now, like up in San Francisco and LA or whatever, there's people greeting you at the front. Yeah. Hi, how are you?
They care.
They make you feel like you just have arrived.
Yeah.
You are important. Yeah.
That's interesting.
No one is doing that here.
No, they don't do that in Armenian Bible studies or in churches.
No,
right? Yeah.
not even in Armenia. Not the Eastern Diocese, not the Western Diocese. It's like you come here. It's not about you.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's not about you.
Yeah. So that's how we met. And speaking of going to church not being about you, I want to dig a bit deeper about the Armenian faith. So in your definition, what does the Armenian church define what the Armenian faith should be and whatnot?
You know what? You came to that conclusion. And, when you said about, like, when did we meet? And I always go back to the days when you were collecting during COVID for the first responders. You were collecting for masks and other equipment. And I remember I was so impressed that here's a young lady within the Armenian church system that wants to do these outreach programs. And I bring this up because that's exactly what the Armenian church is about. It's not about you. It's about our world. How do I fit into the world? There are some, what we get messed up about is we think that it's about us. So I need better cars, I need better homes, I need better money.
Hold on. Does that mean I can't get that G-Wagon?
Probably. I offered it to you, but you use the money to support the first
donate
responders.
It. Yeah. I'm still reconsidering that.
No, because, at the end of the day, what do you, when you stand in front of God, what are you going to say? I got a G-Wagon, I got 2 cars, I got 3 cars. He's going to say, so what? I created all the ponies in the world.
Is it okay if you do both?
I don't know. I think it's okay until you lose track of it, and it's so easy to lose track. Once you get involved in material wealth, you lose track and sight of what's important in your life, because all of a sudden you start living for those things instead of realizing that those things are to support what you're doing. And so, if you've got a G-Wagon that you're going to fill up with medical supplies to take places and everything, that's really great. But you can do it, right, in a 1996 Ford pickup, too.
But the G-Wagon's way more comfortable.
See, that's where it goes. That's what happens.
When you talk about materialism, let's talk about materialism within the Armenian community. You mentioned about material wealth.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that within the Armenian community. Don't you agree?
Oh, I think it's the number one problem within our community.
Is that a sin?
Oh, yeah.
The number one sin of the Armenian people is material wealth.
Well, it has skewed our attention away from what is important. Right now, we are facing an existential threat, in other words, to our existence as Armenians. And the extent that we go to is we end up protesting, and people say, okay, we have to write letters, and we all do that. Why? Because it's within our comfort zone. We're not going to give up the wealth that we have, and we need to start giving up some of that wealth.
What do you mean? What type of wealth are we talking about when you say we're not giving up the wealth that we have?
Well, here, look at it this way. When you look at what's going on in Armenia, and when you go, even let's forget about Armenia. Look what's going on with the earthquake in Turkey.
And Syria,
right? You got this incredible event that takes place. It happened a few years ago in Armenia, 30 years ago in Armenia. Who were the first responders? It was the Turks who came over the border, and they were the ones who helped out. There was a story because that night I was running the only internet connection, and there was Turks that were coming in from Gars that were helping, not because they were Turks. They were helping because there was human tragedy.
Was this part of the government, or was it the people?
The people. Governments are going to mess you up. Forget about governments.
So because of that earthquake, there's a video recently that has been resurfaced because of this Turkey and Syria earthquake. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's from the 1988 earthquake, and there's an Armenian woman in Armenia complaining how the Azeri Turks sent over aid in boxes that were labeled saying, "Congratulations."
Yeah, I heard that
Mocking.
too. Yeah, I heard that too.
There's a video.
And you know what happened a few weeks ago from the Armenians. They didn't send anything over, but you saw the banter that was going on the internet,
But the banter on the internet will always be there.
It will always be there. But here, you asked me specifically, the wealth. Think about this, that when something like this happens, you're not talking about a city block going down. If today the city block you live on, anybody lives on, it was leveled, what are we talking about? We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, when you take into account all of the property damage, all of the material wealth that goes away. And then we've got countries about material wealth within the Armenian. Think about this. For the last several years, we have these telethons that go on. Thanksgiving.
And we're
Day,
raising, Mark Garagos raising multi-millions.
Right. And how much are we talking about? The best telethon.
Between 10 to 20 million.
Right.
Minimum.
Okay.
From what I remember. I don't watch them.
Let's push it a little bit.
I only care about the number near the end.
I'm going to tell you a number that never happened, 50 million, okay? Let's assume that they each raised 50 million. What is that when you're talking about a country? What is 50 million? Right now, you can, in your head, you can spend 50 million. You know that what that house costs. You know what that apartment building costs. You know what these structures are costing. 50 million's nothing. But what we do is we take pride in it because we aren't willing to give everything that we've got for people that are basically on that front line. And I know you're going to turn and say, well, are you giving everything? No, I'm not. That's the problem.
I was not going to ask you that question.
No, I'm not. But that's where our conversation should be. The material wealth that we have over here is incredible next to what the needs are. I've been to Africa. I've lived in small little communities. I've lived out in villages. These people have absolutely nothing.
But they're so happy.
But they're happy.
They're really happy.
I sat with a bunch of Rwandans who think about this, the little wrappers that the gum comes in?
Yeah.
They took those wrappers.
And made a dress.
No, close. They made a little ball. And they were playing. They were more happy. And you know what it reminded me of was my grandparents who were genocide survivors, the small things that they had would make them very, very happy. No, I never saw them play with a ball made out of gum wrappers, but it was the small things that they were very happy with. We have everything.
And we're not happy.
Well, we are not happy, but we have stress levels. We have incredible difficulties processing all that.
I mean, that's another thing. When you walk in an Armenian church on a Sunday, a lot of people, I should stop generalizing. I'm not generalizing. I'm just talking from my experience and my perspective. But also, I feel like a lot of people my age can relate to this. And that's why they're so turned off by the Armenian church, is when you walk in, people in the church are not everyone. I've seen people who are very happy here. But there's women and men who are just, you look into their eyes and I feel like they're not alive. Sorry. It's not funny, but it's just like, I get why they're here, right? They're trying to find their answers. It's like when you come to church, it's time for you and for your Father to connect. It's time for you to experience this multi-sensory 2 hours of the priest, the deacons, the scents, the sounds, the choir, the images. Those are all tools and ways of how the Armenian church celebrates and worships the Creator. Mm-hmm. But when people come in here, they come in here for various different reasons, and the youth is just so turned off that they come in and they're like, wow, the lady over here, she's crying. That's dramatic. The man over there is just like staring at everyone. That's uncomfortable. And I don't understand what the deacons are saying and singing. And I don't know what the kiss of peace means. I'm just saying we could do better of educating or providing an education of what these things mean when we come into the Armenian church and how we worship in order for it to be relatable. Why am I sitting here talking to you right now? It's because I put in the effort thanks to you. I promise you, I would not be sitting here had it not been for you being so open, so kind, so understanding of me and the generation that I grew up in, and you break down everything for me. And it took like a year for me to truly understand, oh, wow, the divine liturgy, now that's where it's at.
Thank you. I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you one more thing that I wish I could say, yeah, I'm so unique and everything, but there are so many priests out there that really want to do this.
But they don't speak English.
Okay, but you have opened up. You have given me an opportunity to talk to you, and there's so many others that can't. But let me go back to the people inside the church. Think about what you said. What brought you that first step was your dog died, right? It was a tragedy. It was something that was emotionally upsetting to you.
The dog dying represented it's a time to change and to level up. What are we doing in life?
That was for you. And these people that are in church, I don't know why they're here. I could see the pain in some people. I could see some joy in people too, This is just this month, last month, exactly a month ago, I married a couple. Would you believe every Sunday since their wedding, they have been in church.
I love that.
I love it too.
Those are couple goals.
I said, hey guys, didn't you go on a honeymoon? Well, no, we haven't. We haven't gone yet, but we're here. I mean, how beautiful is that? It means something more than just the service. They got something out of this, right?
But say their honeymoon is in Italy, Venice. There's an Armenian church there. They could attend
cool?
Sunday Divine Liturgy. And that's what the beauty, also another beautiful thing about the Armenian church that people don't know or don't realize. When I say people, I mean the younger folks who want to go to church, but they're just intimidated or they don't have the comfort level to come because it can feel intimidating. And I say that from my experience. But again, I think it's relatable because I hear other people agreeing. But you could be anywhere around the world. You could be in India. You could be, do we have a church in Japan? Or is that like a hoax?
I know Surpazan's going there like next week or something. I don't know for what, but
any Armenian church, we have multiple locations internationally. And if you are on vacation and that Sunday is right around the corner and you're like, wow, I wish I was in Glendale at St. Peter's. It's like, no, there's one right there in Moscow.
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, after you're done eating your borscht. I mean, no, you shouldn't be eating prior to your.
But the beauty of it is after you eat your borscht or after or before, you can go into that church and it's the same exact service.
Yeah.
As that you're going to get in Burbank, as you're going to get in Holy Etchmiadzin. Wherever you go, it's the same.
It's the best.
And that brings you back down to home. So you then realize, hey, it's not about me. There is a big community. There is something bigger than me at play.
You just got to go get it. You got to go after it. You have to put in effort, It's effort. You're not going to walk in, get your 30-minute fast food sermon, which I enjoy those sermons too, but it's not the same.
Well, Sousanna, you bring up something that this generation has not heard. And that was, from my generation, what really turned me on. We had a president, and he was young. And he said this in his inaugural address. He says, don't ask what this country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country.
John F. Kennedy?
Yes. And he made, after that, the Peace Corps was established. We realized that my life is only going to have meaning when I could live it for the sake of everybody else.
He was Catholic, right?
Yes, Roman Catholic.
Was he the only Catholic president we've had?
I think Biden is Catholic now. Yes.
I don't think Biden remembers that he's Catholic.
Okay. I'm not going to get into the politics. I'm just telling you that that's what we can make that connection with something that inspired me. And I think many people in my generation, life has to be more. Whether it's a country or others, it's not about me.
No, it's not about you. Look, I was 22 at Coachella, and it was, have you heard of Coachella?
Is that close to Burning Man? Yes, I have.
No,
yes.
Burning Man is Burning Man's a little too extreme. I could only do Burning Man for one day, and I still haven't done it.
Well, I've done it for 3, so if you've...
You've been to Burning Man?
Man, I was at Woodstock. What do you want me to tell you?
No, honestly, jokes aside, have you been to Woodstock?
Listen,
did you go?
Listen.
Were you alive back then?
Oh, thank you. You are so kind. And yes, I'm.
Was that the 60s or the 70s?
Woodstock was 1969.
Were you there?
At Woodstock, no.
Was it wild?
It was wild.
Really?
Yeah. I was on the farm that's just outside. Like if you take that road that goes into Woodstock, I was like hanging out at that cafe on the side.
Did you ever come across Janis Joplin?
Oh, many times and many times.
What was her coffee order? I want to know.
No, I don't know her coffee order. I could tell you what her albums were like. That's how I met her.
Talent. Yeah. Oh, I love music. Anyways, I need to find a good intro song.
Piece of My Heart.
By?
Janis Joplin.
Wow. I'm not really good with titles, but But back to Coachella. So, okay, yeah, clearly you know what Coachella is. My first Coachella,
Yes, I know what Coachella is.
forget about my first Coachella. Anyway, so like by my fifth Coachella, I was like, it's 3 days. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it's a lot. I wouldn't be able to do that now, but in my earlier days, when Sunday would roll through, and I was in Palm Springs at Coachella. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm gonna go to church. They're like, what? I'm like, they're like, what church? I'm like, there's an Armenian church here. I really want to go tomorrow morning. They're like, okay, you do that, but I would never wake up on time.
I think that's where we're.
That's balance right there.
Well, that's what I admire.
For me.
I mean, I was no different. I want to tell you, when I brought up the whole thing about Woodstock and everything, no, I wasn't there, but it was a very big part of my life to live in this kind of. When I brought up that whole issue about Woodstock, it is because much of my life was like that. I belonged to the St. James Armenian Church in Los Angeles by the airport over there, and we would be out every Saturday night. We'd be at concerts and things like that. But Sunday morning, no matter what happened, it was just a matter of I don't want to say routine, but I just knew I had to be there, and I was at the Armenian Church. It didn't matter if I was going on 1 hour's sleep or 10 hours of sleep. Never had 10 hours, but if I was on 1 hour or 5 hours or 6 hours, I was up and there. And it's not like to pat me on the back. It's just that was the balance in my life. That's what made my life work. And so that's all I can talk about, is that in my life, that's where I found the balance, that the Armenian Church was this one grounding that I had against everything else that the world was giving me.
I love that. And yeah, and when I met you, and all of a sudden this beautiful world was exposed to me, which was always there for me. I was baptized in this church. And my dad asked me, why are you not going to the Armenian church? And I was like, when did you ever take me to church? Or when did mom ever take me to church? So it's kind of been my own journey. And the more I learn about it, the more I dig deeper about my faith and just the church and what it provides. It's so nice. It's so nice. It's so grounding. So, like, for example, like, yeah, I could be out Saturday, and Sunday I'm in there. It's a totally different world, and it prepares you for the week. And also that receiving Holy Communion is like, it's medicine. It's medicine with whatever you're going through, whether that's physical, mental, spiritually.
I love it. Yeah.
And when that dog died, I went into this little pit, and when I met you because I needed something else. I needed a church where I just wanted to explore what the Armenian church could provide for me, right? That those are selfish reasons, but now it's more about like, that's not the reason anymore. I'm so enamored and truly, truly curious about everything about it. And it's been 5 years, and I feel like I'm only scratching the surface.
And I think it's just beautiful that you want to do this kind of a podcast, because it's one thing when I get up and I preach to people, but you are just like a living example of somebody who is searching and finding something. And I think that's a story that's being told through this podcast. So
Definitely.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh my God, thank you. Will you come back?
Yeah, I will.
I mean, I'll call your agent.
Okay.
Book you for another session.
No agent with me. Just
let me know what you want on your rider. If there's M&Ms that you need, or Starbucks coffee without creamer.
M&M sounds great. But
You're telling me I'm a diva.
All right.
Before I got here, it's like, where is my coffee and where are you?
Oh, get out of here. Whatever.
Where are you?
Whatever.
I thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where we would cut, and we'd have some music, and then you could come back in with a little thing. Hey, if you want to follow us, follow along.